Good morning and welcome to the Folens Primary Publishing webinar. My name's Lizzie Gibbon and I'm the Field Sales Manager here in Folens. Also on the panel here, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of my friends here. So we have Aoife McGrath, who is one of our authors, who's waving right now. And we also have Kira Walsh, who is one of our commissioning editors. She's responsible for the new SESE program Explorers as well. So I'm delighted that you could all join us this morning. These are really strange and challenging times for everybody, I know. I hope that you and your loved ones are staying very, very well at the moment and that you are managing to keep everything together. This is a very strange time for us as well. You know, this is the first year in a good few decades when there's been no Folens roadshows. But we didn't want to disappoint you. So we put together this morning's session so that you guys could hear the same good news as you would have heard at the roadshows. And we're pretty excited. I'm just looking at the number. The people are coming in now still. We're on 325 people. The numbers are flying up at the moment, actually. 328, 29, 330. It's increasing all the time. So yeah, you're all really, really welcome. And I'd like to thank you hugely for giving us your time this morning. Without further ado, I'll just give you a quick idea of what we're going to look at today. If I can just get, yep, there we go. So our agenda for this morning, we've got lots of really great updates. The whole webinar, including questions and answers, will take about 45 minutes. We've got lots of really exciting highlights, but it is really the highlights we're going to explain to you on the following programs. So first of all, we have Starlight. And I'm just going to give you a quick brief summary of that and how it can support you to implement the primary language curriculum in your school and your classroom. And then Aoife, who I introduced you to just now, who's one of our authors. If I can just get this to click. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the slides to go here. Oh, there we go. Back up again. They all came at once there. Yeah, so Aoife's going to bring you through, who's one of our authors who I introduced you to already. She's going to bring you through Folens Explorers. And then I'll give you a quick, concise explanation of Spell It, which we launched this year, and also Tip-Top Tables. And then Kira, who I've already introduced you to as well, she's going to give you an explanation of Folens School at Home, which is our fantastic new initiative, which is designed to support you through the coming weeks as pupils continue to do their learning from home. After the presentations, there'll be time for you to, there'll be time for a question and answer session, so we'll be able to answer some of your questions. So as we go through the webinar, if questions spring to mind, there's a question box which you can type the questions into. And we'll answer as many of those as we can this morning. We'll answer a few questions, and if not, we will get back to you afterwards. At the very end of the questionnaire, if you stay online, there's a questionnaire which will pop up for you, and that will enable your local rep to organise your free teacher's yearbook and relevant samples to enable you to have a really good look at the programmes that we're talking about today. During the webinar as well, there'll also be the opportunity to get involved in a couple of live polls, and we'll be able to show you the answers of those as we go through. Okay. So most schools, as we're all aware, are working towards that full implementation of the new primary language curriculum. So over the last 2 years, we launched Starlight, which is our comprehensive literacy programme. And it really does offer a number of components that can be purchased separately for your flexibility. Okay, so if you might be still using Reading Zone or another scheme, we absolutely know that Starlight can match the new needs of your classroom. Or some of you might have already adopted some of the components or classes of Starlight, and you might find that other components or classes are useful as you transition into that full implementation of the primary language curriculum. So today I'm going to give you a very quick summary of Starlight and how it can support you with that primary language curriculum. Okay, so Starlight completely aligns to the requirements of that PLC. In fact, it takes the pain out of implementing it completely. So we've taken a really practical approach, and things that teachers really tell us are most useful are that Starlight integrates all of the 3 curriculum strands. So that's oral language, reading and writing in every single unit. So that means that you don't have to keep pulling together literacy resources from all over the place. And that makes it much easier for you to teach and the kids to learn. Starlight provides very straightforward editable planning and ready-made assessments. And then differentiation is built into the program. So for example, there's differentiated activities in the workbooks, in the books, and then there's above and below achiever worksheets for every unit as well. It explicitly teaches writing skills and comprehension strategies, which is very much absent from many literacy programs. But most importantly, and this is the feedback that we've really been getting from teachers across the board that how are using Starlight, is that the kids absolutely love it and they really engage with the topics. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a very quick overview now of the components in Starlight. So Starlight integrates, as I've already said, oral language, reading and writing around a single theme and genre. So there's various components available at each class level, but here's an overview of the types of components that are available. So first of all, there's highly interactive oral language posters. And the quality of these is absolutely out of this world. We're getting fantastic feedback from the teachers that are using it already. There are interactive big books and interactive readers. There are core readers. And then there are foundation readers. And just by way of a little bit of an explanation there, those foundation readers from junior to 2nd class, they're simplified versions of the core readers, which you can use for weaker students. So that really helps you with differentiation. And then there are skills books, combined reading and skills books, and then comprehensive teacher planning, which you would probably come to expect from Folens. So for flexibility, all of those components are priced separately so that you can choose the ones which really suit your needs depending on the literacy strategy in your school. But you can be assured that at any time of the year, the components that you choose to adopt will fully integrate with each other in terms of theme and genre. For your own class, you'll find an excellent detailed table of the components specific to that class at folens.ie/Starlight. So I'll give you a moment to just write down that URL so that you can take note of that. Great. And I'll move on now. So a key goal in the design of Starlight was to save teachers time searching for different resources by integrating those 3 strands around a single theme. So I'm going to show you one quick example now of how the integration works. So I'm going to look at a 3rd class example where each theme runs for a fortnight. The unit is based on the theme of space and technology, and the genre is persuasive. So the highly interactive oral language poster deals with the role of robots in our world. And then there's 2 persuasive reading texts on the theme of robots. And then for their writing, the children plan and write persuasive text, which in this example is an advert to get people to buy the robot that they've designed. So not only does that offer like huge convenience, but the consistency of approach is also proven to really help the children learn and retain knowledge. So basically, Starlight is everything you need for literacy in one place. So the planning for Starlight, it's really, really comprehensive. You'll find it in the teacher guides and it's editable online, okay? So that's something that we found over the years that teachers really, really need to be able to edit it so that they can tailor it to their own needs and the class that's in front of them that year. So this year we have responded to feedback from teachers and we have added online fortnightly plans, which are clearly integrating those 3 strands of oral language, reading and writing. There's of course yearly plans, and then there's the oral language lesson plans are actually done separately in a lot of detail as well. Now those were put together by a renowned oral language expert, Anya Cregan, who I'm sure many of you will have heard of or been taught by, from Mary I. And just to give you an added little bit of confidence in our material, the NCCA actually recently asked Anya to create the sample lesson plans, which you can find on their online teachers toolkit on their website. So that gives you extra confidence that we really do have the right person to have written those oral language lesson plans for Starlight. Then there's easy to follow reading and writing lesson plans and online curriculum mapping for the primary language curriculum as well. In terms of assessments, there are 4 termly assessments online for all classes, and then assessment checklists for oral language, reading and writing, and then for the junior to second classes, there are reading tests as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to go to our first poll, okay? And I'm going to just ask you a bit of a question, and you're going to have the chance now to vote for the most appropriate answer. So I'm going to ask my able assistant. I didn't introduce her because you weren't looking at her, but it's Bridget who's going to be helping us with this. So she's going to show us the poll now. Here we go. So you just get to vote this. So basically, what do you like most about what you've just heard about Starlight? So the first answer to that is alignment to the PLC, the primary language curriculum. Each unit integrating oral language reading and writing, each unit organised by theme and genre, or the planning support, including those new fortnightly plans which integrate all of the 3 strands. So you can now choose. Which of those you think is most appropriate to you. I'm going to give you a moment to vote, and then we'll see how people get on. Okay, so that's quite interesting. So the vote showed that 38% of you felt that the planning support that you got, including those new fortnightly plans, was the most important, followed then by 28% saying that each unit integrating oral language reading and writing was the most important, followed by then the alignment to the primary language curriculum. So that's really, really interesting to hear what's most important to you guys. Okay, so we'll move on now to our next agenda item. There we go. Okay. So last year we brought you Explorers, which is our SESE program for junior to second classes. It's a thematic and fully integrated program for history, geography and science. So now we're absolutely delighted to launch the 3rd to 6th classes. And I'm going to hand you over to Aoife McGrath, who's the absolute expert when it comes to this, because she's one of the lovely people who wrote Folens Explorers. So I'll hand over to Aoife now. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Lizzie. So as Lizzie said, my name is Aoife McGrath. I'm a full-time primary school teacher here in Tipperary, and I am really very proud to be one of the authors of Folens Explorers. So when we started developing the Folens Explorers programme, we spoke to teachers like you and me to find out what was important to us, what we needed to deliver a really successful SESE programme in our classroom. And the same needs kept coming up time and time again. So with classroom life being so time poor, as you well know, we need really meaningful integration between geography, history and science to make the most valuable use of the SESE time available to us. And that's going to be more true than ever when we return to school in the future. We want a programme that's practical, and I mean practical in 2 different ways. We want a programme that's practical for our pupils, so they're always engaging in lots of hands-on learning activities. But we also want it to be practical for ourselves in how we deliver it in the classroom. So we want materials that are easy to source, we want achievable science experiments, and we want all our planning needs met for us. We want digital resources that are pitched at the right level and play a meaningful role in the teaching that we're doing in our class. So we don't want to spend hours anymore in the evening trawling through the internet looking for websites or videos that will link with the topics we're teaching. We want it there for us, and we want it to be correct and appropriate to the lessons we're teaching. We want content which is spiraled, but without undue repetition. But above all else, what we're looking for in an SESE programme is robust content that is fresh and engaging and current and meaningful for the pupils who are in front of us today. And we want a programme that is absolutely rooted in the skills of the SESE curriculum. We're not looking for another literacy or non-fiction textbook in our classroom. We have those. What we're looking for in an SESE programme is the ability to allow our pupils and to encourage our pupils to think as historians, geographers and scientists. So Explorers has all these features in abundance and they're pitched perfectly for each level of the primary school. So last year we launched the junior infant to second class programme. We've had really positive feedback from teachers who have been using it since last September. To make integration as seamless as possible, the Junior Infant to Second Class programme is organised around 10 themes. Each of these themes is then explored through the lens of history, geography and science, with the same themes being revisited in the same order each year, but always covering different topics, consolidating and expanding on the knowledge and skills that pupils have already developed. So the Junior and Senior Infant programme is a digitally led programme. So what this means is there are custom-made, age-appropriate digital resources for every topic that you're teaching. So these include videos, animations, stories, interactive posters and games. So they're all created specifically to the Explorers programme so that they're pitched appropriately to the topic you're teaching and to the class level. And then the student books for junior and senior infants are there to support the digital and hands-on learning experiences that are happening in your class. So they're used for reinforcement of the topics and to allow the pupils to record their little investigations and experiments. In first and second class then, the programme moves to a print-led programme as the pupils' reading abilities are improving at this stage. So it consists of a set of visually appealing student books which guide the learning and provide lots of scenarios and opportunities for hands-on learning in your classroom. And again, there's the custom-made digital resources to support the content in the book. And then at every level, you have your comprehensive teacher's guide, which gives you all the support you need to engage in the practical tasks in the classroom and meets all your planning needs. So I just want to bring you on a little lesson walkthrough now so you can get a feel for how the content of each subject is integrated through the theme. So we're going to look at a junior infant lesson on the theme of water. So for history, the children hear a first-hand account from famous model and activist Georgie Batil about her childhood growing up in Burkina Faso, where she didn't actually have running water. So here we're covering the strand of story, and it's the story of the life of a woman from a different social, cultural and ethnic background. So you can see how really well the strands and strand units are linked in with the theme. For geography then, the pupils are learning about rain and puddles, and they do this through our really exciting and engaging animated story. So here comes Ricky the raindrop. Are we having an audio? I wonder, can we hear him? Here he goes.
Rain. That's why the sky is so dark. It's all the raindrops like me, ready to fall. Let's go! Watch out! Roof ahead! Now, down the drain pipe. See you at the bottom. Whee!
So I have a soon-to-be junior infant at home here, and he's usually asking to watch Paw Patrol, but recently I showed him some of these Explorers animations, and this is what he's asking to watch these days. So I'm sure you can imagine how engaging these animated stories will be for the young pupils in your class. Moving on then to science. The children are going to engage in an experiment to find out the effects of water on materials. And then they're going to do a design and make challenge where they have to create a pair of wellies for their teddy. So again, a really meaningful learning experience for pupils of this age. The student book then reinforces the work that the pupils have been doing through their digital and hands-on learning and invites them to explore the world around them. So this year, we're absolutely thrilled to be launching the 3rd to 6th class Explorers programme. Just find the slide here. Here we go. So now you can have Explorers the whole way through your school from junior infants right up to 6th class. So the 3rd to 6th class programme consists of a set of visually compelling student books that are jam-packed with robust content and opportunity after opportunity for skills development. So each class has a combined geography and science book along with a separate history book, and all of these then are supported by our digital resources and curated web links for every unit. And all the work that's in the book is supported then by our teacher's guide, which gives you all your ideas for hands-on learning, practical support to make the activities achievable in your class, especially those science activities that some of us find a little bit more challenging, and it also meets all your planning requirements there. So here we're looking at the contents of the 4th class students' books. So you can see each unit is covered over 16 units. So that's very clear there in the history book. In the combined book then, there are 12 integrated geography and science lessons, 4 standalone geography lessons, 4 standalone science lessons, making 20 units in total in that book, but 16 units for each subject. The units then are often paired between the books to allow for meaningful integration between subjects. So as you can see, the Romans are being taught in history, while Italy is being taught in geography. And this is a feature, and it happens the whole way throughout the Explorers 3rd to 6th class programme. So now we're just going to take a little deeper look at a 4th class history unit so you can see some of the features for yourself and get a feel for what the programme is like. So this unit that we're looking at is on the Normans. So we'll start off, as we always do in every unit of 3rd to 6th class, with our digital stimulus. So what this is, it's an image up on your interactive whiteboard with a set of accompanying questions. So it's there to set the scene, to motivate interest, to allow you to establish the children's prior knowledge in the subject. So here, the pupils are examining a section of the Bayeux Tapestry to elicit information about the Normans. So straight away, we're asking them to develop their working as a historian skill of using evidence. So right from the start of the lesson, they're thinking as historians. And we'll move on to the pupil book. As is best practice, the unit begins with an introduction to explain what the children are learning and why they're learning it, and to help them fit the content of the lesson into the bigger picture of what's happening and what knowledge they already have. So this is a highly recommended practice across all subjects to give your pupils an introduction to the lesson. But in our research, we found that most SESE books jump straight into the content without giving any context. So we made sure we included our introduction here, as is best practice. Most history units then have got a timeline. So this is drawing our attention to the key dates and information of the lesson. It's aiding our visual learners, and it's also giving the pupils another opportunity to develop their time and chronology skills. On the next 2 pages of the unit then, you'll start to notice these little boxes. What we call these is skills stickers, and these are scattered throughout the Explorers 3rd to 6th class programme. They're on nearly every page, to be honest. And what they are, they're short, snappy, in-context activities that support meaningful engagement with the skills of the curriculum, so that pupils are actively reading the text and thinking as historians instead of just passively skimming through it. So all the time we want our pupils developing skills. At the end of the unit then you'll find a conclusion. So similar to the introduction, it reinforces the content of the unit and summarises what's happening, again fitting it in with the bigger picture. Again, this is best practice. On the last page of the unit then you'll find all your activities. So we start with our 5 fact-finding questions, followed by our 5 explore more questions. So this gives you the opportunity to assess the pupil's knowledge of the content, while requiring them to use both their both their lower and higher order thinking skills. And those question activities then are followed by 2 curriculum-based skills activities. So here the pupils are using evidence, looking at a painting of the margins of Aoife and Strongbow, and then they're using their evidence or their historian skill of synthesis and communication. So you can be assured that throughout the Explorers programme, pupils are regularly engaging in the full and broad spectrum of skills of the curriculum. So this history unit on the Normans is paired with a geography unit on mapping Ireland. Because the Normans were responsible for many of our towns, this is a very natural link between the subjects. And that's followed then by a science unit exploring forces. So again, we're using the Normans as context for examining levers, pulleys and axles. So both of these units include the same features as we saw in the history lesson. So you've got your introductions, your conclusions, your skills stickers throughout. And then we've got a lovely design and make activity in the science section. That's just one of our many scaffolded design and make and investigations that are throughout the programme, always using easy to source materials. So here's a few more examples of our design and make activities and investigations. Explorer's 3rd to 6th class is filled with unique features which you won't find in any other SCSE programme. So of course we've included the tried and tested topics that you know and love to teach, but we've taken a fresh approach to these to give them a new lease of life in your class. So you can see things like life in medieval times and topics like the famine. You're used to teaching these, but we've given them a fresh approach. And then what we've done is we've included brand new topics which are current and relatable for the pupils in front of us today. So topics like communication in the digital age, robotics, sustainability, the evolution of video games in history, all these topics will be relatable to our pupils, and you won't find them in whatever SCSE programme you're currently using. Moving on then to another unique feature we have. Throughout the series, design has played a major role in bringing the content to life for the pupils, while ensuring the pages aren't too text heavy, because that can be very off-putting for our pupils. So in Explorers, everything has a purpose. Each box, each map, each image or piece of artwork has been carefully selected to further children's learning. So there are no fillers on any page, and visual learners will really find this programme appealing. Local studies is another area which is hugely important in any SCSE programme. So when we were developing Explorers, we worked really hard to make sure that the programme could be local to you wherever you are in Ireland. So from junior infants to 6th class, we've picked topics which can be localised to your school. So we've used generic sites like post boxes, grass environments and churches, which can be found locally all over Ireland. We've also offered a lot of support in the teacher's guide, giving you suggestions for adopting topics to your local area. And we've also consciously included examples from around counties all around Ireland. So from Viking Dublin to medieval Kilkenny, to Carrantuil in Kerry, to the northern headlands of Donegal, somewhere in Explorers, there will be a feature local to you. So finally, let me just show you all the teacher support that the Explorers programme provides. So the teacher's guide at each level has everything you need to plan and deliver an exciting and engaging SESE programme for the pupils in your class. So there are yearly schemes which provide you with an overview of the strands and strands units covered, making it really easy to develop your whole school plan. There are skills overviews which allow you to see at a glance the main skills covered in each unit, giving you reassurance that the broad spectrum of skills of the curriculum is covered in a really balanced manner, and this is just perfect if you have a WSE. And then planning wise, you have editable unit plans which provide all your ideas for the hands-on activities for your class. There are tried and tested web links, so I've done the hours and the other authors trawling through the internet, finding the most appropriate websites and videos that will link with the content. There's background information for each topic, giving you reassurance that you will understand what you're teaching, because some of the science experiments and things like that in the higher classes can be difficult. So everything you need is there for engaging with that in a very step-by-step manner. So you're very supported. There's Ashter links at the infant classes and so much more in these plans. So in summary, if there's one piece of information I want you to take away, is that Explorers is a fresh and engaging and current and robust programme that is completely focused on the skills of the SESE curriculum, but in a very supported and achievable manner. I can't wait to get it into my classroom, and I hope you can't wait too. Gerv Mila Mahagwiv, I'll hand you back over to Lizzie.
Thanks so much, Aoife. That was really, really informative, so thanks very much. I think we're going to go to another poll now, so it's your chance to get involved again, and we have a question coming up which I'm going to ask you all to vote on. So basically it's asking you which of these needs that Folens Explorers meets are most important to you. So hopefully that's going to pop up for you now. There we go. And the first need is content. So the robust, meaningful, engaging and up-to-date content that we have in Explorers. The clear and straightforward skills focus. The integration across history, geography and science. The practical hands-on approach and support for hands-on learning, and spiral content that progresses without repetition. So if you can take a vote now, and we'll have a look which is the most important things to you. Plenty of people are voting now, so that's good. Fantastic. Okay, so it's looking like integration across the history, geography and science seems to be the most popular of those things at 45%, I think, yeah. And followed by the content and the importance of that robust, meaningful content. So that's fantastic at 27%. So, and we're going to do another quick vote now, because this is all about the more unique features of Explorers. And we're going to just ask you which are the most important of those unique features now. So over to the second poll now. I'm sure the question will pop up in a second. There it is. Introductions and conclusions to support the big idea. Variety of topics, engaging design and clear layout, or custom-made and age-appropriate digital resources, or finally the local studies content. So if you'd like to take a vote now on which of those more unique features are most important to you. There's a clear leader at the moment of this. Yeah, very much a clear leader, which is really interesting. Okay, I think we're pretty much there. So overall, it looks like the custom-made and age-appropriate digital resources are the things that people are really, really liking the idea of. And it is, I mean, absolutely agree, totally unique to Explorers. Followed then by 22% the engaging design and clear layout. Again, a lot of effort was put into that because it was felt that, you know, with what was existing in the market already, that that was something we definitely needed to do. So I'm delighted that you're pleased with that. Okay, so we'll move on now to our next thing on the agenda. Give me a second for my slides to catch up with me. Okay, so I'm going to give you a whistle-top tour now of Spell It and Tip-Top tables. So we launched Spell It this year for 1st to 6th classes, and it is in line with the primary language curriculum. And here are the key features of Spell It. So first of all, we've taken a very systematic approach to spellings based on phonics and letter patterns. It provides regular opportunities for revision. From 4th class onwards, there are dedicated units for common misspellings. In every single unit, there are high frequency words included, and with an opportunity to revise those as you go through the year. And then there are challenge words in every unit as well to provide stretch opportunities. Spell It is really, really visually engaging, and the activities within it are very, they're really many and varied, if I can put that correctly, many and varied. There's digital games as well from 1st to 4th classes, allowing students to practice spelling in a really fun way as well, so that's quite nice. So the writing strand of the new primary language curriculum states that specifically that children should spell a wide range of high-frequently words accurately. And Spell It is really the only series on the market that does this. So that's really, really important and different about this spelling program. To help with differentiation, as I said earlier, in the classroom, each unit in Spell It contains a number of challenge words. And 2 of my own favourite parts of the book are the words I found difficult pages and also the spelling tests. Okay, so the online resources for Spell It. So first of all, there are really fantastic digital games, which is really different and nice and new for a spelling program. There are printable differentiated worksheets. There are printable flashcards from 1st to 4th classes. And then in addition to that, online, you'll find dictation sentences, correct answers for each activity, so that makes things really easy for your easy correction. And then a master sheet of spellings for each year, which is essentially a school plan, really. So you can be reassured very much that you'll have really confident and competent spellers by the end of the class year using Spell It. So now I'm just going to give you a very quick couple of moments on Tip-Top tables, which we also launched this year. So here's the highlights. So it really is your one-stop shop for tables. So as well as the standard tables pages, which you'd obviously expect from a tables book, there are also fantastic additional things. So there's lovely tips for parents on building number sets. There's ideas for games. There's ready-made addition and multiplication grids to help students add and multiply. And there are printable table practice sheets online as well. So that's all really, really helpful for tables. Okay, so if you want to find out more about what we've been talking about this morning, so we've tried to be really, really concise as possible on the programs that we've shown you this morning. But if you do need any further information on any of the programs you've seen today, for each program, you'll actually find them on folens.ie, and you'll find really, really informative pages. There's videos there, there's samples of our books, there's sample digital resources as well. So those are the URLs for Starlight and Explorers, but you'll find the others in folens.ie as well. And then, of course, although our reps can't come in and meet you at the moment, they're very, very much still available to you and would love to talk to you. They can help you with which components specifically match your school or class needs, relevant pricing, including guiding you through purchasing for book rental schemes, how to adopt programs which include digital licenses, because obviously when you do that for the first time, you might be a little bit unsure as to how to do that, so they'll explain all of that to you. They can organise relevant samples to be sent to you. So even at this time, it might mean them sending them to your home address. That's no problem at all. We can do that. Special offers at the moment as well. They can talk you through those, and they're available for video calls as well with you and your colleagues, which might really, really help you to plan for next year as well. Because sometimes making decisions about books and programs, you do need to have a chat with each other. So we can facilitate that too. So to find your own rep, go to folens.ie/our-reps. So I'm going to give you a moment to take all of that down before we move on. Great stuff. Okay. So I'm really, really delighted now to be launching Folens School at Home. Okay, so this initiative very much results from the feedback from teachers to our staff about some of the challenges that you guys are facing in the current crisis. Now, we really, really believe that this initiative should support you to help parents, to help teachers learn at home in the coming weeks. So I'm going to hand over to Kira Walsh, who made this, to explain everything.
Thanks very much, Lizzie. So I just want to, as Lizzie said, take you through one of our more recent initiatives this morning, which is Folens School at Home. So back in March, when the schools closed, we straight away tried to think of things we could do to help make that transition to remote teaching as easy as possible for you as teachers and also for parents and students. So one of the first things we did was we opened up Folens Online for free access for everybody. So if you haven't done that already, or if there's any parents of students in your schools who haven't done that, it's quite straightforward. The instructions to do so I've just brought up on screen there now. So you just go to folensonline.ie and click register, select to register as a teacher, even if you are a parent, and then fill in a username, email and password. And then for the roll number, just enter PRIM20 for access to all of our primary resources. And if you as a teacher have an account with us already on Folens Online, which many teachers do, all you need to do is just set up a new account with a different email address using that code. And you can access everything that we have there for free, regardless of whether you're using our programs or not. But the problem with this was when we opened up Folens Online, it had never been designed to be used by parents. And even for teachers like yourselves, you were quite used to just seeing a selection of resources that were relevant to your class and the programs you're using. But by opening everything up all at once, you were suddenly seeing everything that Folens Online had to offer, which includes over 130 titles for primary and over 10,000 individual resources. So to try and deal with that and make it easier for everybody, because that volume is overwhelming for anyone and particularly for parents, we've come up with this idea of Folens School at Home. So what that is a series of plans that we put up online every week that are designed for parents to use at home with their children. They're organised into 4 groups. We've got ones for infants. We have 1st and 2nd class, 3rd and 4th, and 5th and 6th. And in every plan, there is a selection of a very manageable amount of resources and everything's in the one place. So it's really easy to find. Those plans are uploaded every week, and the plans from the previous weeks remain up on Folens School at Home as well, so that there's a selection of plans up there to use. We're actually into week 4 of it now, so there's 4 plans up there for each of those groups. The plans themselves have been written by experienced teachers, and they're really straightforward and easy to follow. There is an overview at the top of every plan that tells the parents what's involved. And in every week, we do the 3 core subjects of English, Gaeilge and Maths, as well as SCSE. And we use resources from our most popular programs. So for English, you'll have resources from Starlight, for Gaeilge, Oberlum, Maths, you've got Planet Maths, and then Explorers, SCSE, as we've just heard about this morning, those resources are used. And there's just 2 activities for each subject. So there's not an overwhelming amount in there, because we know that parents at home, there could be a lot of different things going on, and it's quite hard to get the time to do these things with children. So at least this amount, it's not overwhelming for them. Then in the plans themselves, the activities are really clearly broken down, and there's a link in every section that will bring parents directly to the resource on Folens Online once they're logged in. So they don't have to go trawling through everything that's there. It'll just bring them straight to what they need. And then the directions to go along with it are broken down step by step, and it's written really clearly so that it's in language that will be friendly for parents and help them to know what to do with the resources rather than just giving the resource to them. The Irish plans then in particular, we've tried where possible to include translations. So for the key vocabulary in the activities, because we know that a lot of parents either don't have Irish at all or only have limited Irish. So we're trying to help them out with that. And then at the end of each plan, there's a little printable section. So that includes some content which, if parents want to, they can print out for their children to complete, so that everything's not on the screen. So it'd be little kind of worksheets that go along with what we've given them in the plans. And again, direction on how to use those is included in the plan itself. So these plans, they can be accessed from the Folens Online homepage. There's a new button there for Folens School at Home, or parents can go to them directly at www.folensonline.ie/Folens-primary. And we really hope that these will help parents at home when they're working with their children, and to help you as teachers as well, that you could send parents to Folens School at Home for activities, or you could indeed use these plans as a basis for creating your own plans that we know a lot of you are sending home, because we know how time poor so many people are at the moment, trying to manage everything that's going on. So I hope that's of some use. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kira. That's absolutely fantastic. I really hope that you all get loads of use out of that in the coming weeks. So that kind of concludes things for today. What we're going to do now, though, is try and answer some of your questions that have been coming through. So I can see that there's one question coming from a few people, actually, or something along these lines anyway, which is asking about how does Starlight cater for differentiation? I think I'll answer that one if that's okay, ladies, for now. So basically, each part of Starlight has something which caters towards differentiation. So if you look, first of all, the digital oral language posters, within those there's starters and flyers stories, which are they're the same stories, but they're pitched at different language levels, which really helps if you've got different levels within the classroom. And we've certainly had good feedback about how that really helps with differentiation. Within the oral language posters, again, there is, in the question mode, the questions are graded from literal questions through to inferential questions. So you could target those questions then to different kids in the room depending on their own ability. So that's a way of it, including everybody, but at different levels within the same room. Thinking through now on the oral language lesson, the language is clearly tiered, different levels within the lesson plans, so that really helps as well. And then if you think in the readers, there are early finisher or challenge activities at the end of every chapter. And then of course there's the foundation readers as well in the readers as well, so for the junior classes. So as I said before, they're the same stories at simpler level. The books actually, they look exactly the same with the same pictures, etc., which is really nice. But they are much simpler language level. So depending on the group that you've got in front of you, you can choose to pick the core readers or the foundation readers or a mix of both. We're finding that it really depends on the school and on the class and on the teacher as to what works best, but it certainly helps with that differentiation. And then online, you've got the above and below level achiever worksheets as well. So hopefully that answers that question, because quite a few people asked that question. I'm just having a look now at the next most frequent questions who have been asked this morning. Oh yeah, this one's come in from quite a few people. So what support is there for teaching science in Explorers? And I know this is a real concern that we hear from many teachers as well, along, when we're in schools and talking to people, because a lot of teachers wouldn't necessarily consider themselves to be experts in teaching science. But I'm going to hand over to Kira, I think, for this one. Can I ask Kira that question?
Yeah, I mean, that is something that came up a lot when we were doing our research, that science was an area teachers were looking for a lot of support in. And so when we put together Explorers, we were really conscious to make sure that the science content within the book itself was really easy to follow. So all of the investigations and design and makes are highly supported. Like, they're given step by step. All of the materials that are needed for them are really easy to come by. We didn't want things where teachers were going to have to go out and source things or have to even spend their own money on resources for science. So all of that really clearly planned out, and it's a lot of focus on STEM at the moment. So we made sure that we had a lot of design and makes and investigations within the book, but that were very achievable. And then for teachers who felt that maybe they weren't as confident with science, particularly in the older classes, as Aoife mentioned when she was giving her presentation, that we have put a lot into the notes in the teacher guide itself. So we give background information on the science topics, common misconceptions to watch out for, make it really clear what the key science message the children need to take away from the lesson is. And even in some cases, we've provided video links in the plans that are actually more for the teacher to familiarise themselves with exactly what the content is and exactly what part of that they're delivering to the children. So hopefully that really helps with science in the classroom.
Fantastic. I don't know, Aoife, as a teacher, have you had much experience of trying to teach science?
Yeah, I suppose my area of interest and my strong point would be more on the history side of things and not the science. So when I saw the pupils' books and the teacher's guide for the Explorer's Science, I was thrilled for myself that all that support that Ciara mentioned is there, and it is really clear, and it is step by step, and all the background information is there. So, you know, it is something that I'm feeling I will be more confident attacking science in my class with all that backup in the programme.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. That's great. So there are another questions come through, which is, can you explain again what digital comes with Explorers? Okay, I'm going to hand over to Ciara for this one because she's right in there with this one.
Yeah, so because the digital, it is a little bit different as you go through the classes, depending on what we found was most needed for the different class levels. So the greatest amount of digital, if you like, the highest supported digital is in infants. So for infants, the program itself is digitally led. So the digital plays the main role in delivering the content, in all the stimulus pieces, it's supporting what's going on in hands-on learning. So there's a whole suite of custom-made resources that are age appropriate at infants, and that was the big thing we found when we were researching. Was there's great resources out there for SCSE. Most of them are more suited to the senior classes, and there wasn't a lot that was pitched at the right level for infants. So that's why Explorers, we went ahead and created our own resources, which you only saw a really small snapshot of there when Aoife was doing her presentation of the Ricky the Raindrop piece, but there are so many other pieces like that throughout the program for infants. Then as the program develops and then move up through the years, it becomes more book-led because children are more able to access that written material. So from first and second class onwards, the digital plays a supporting role to the book. So it's still custom made. We still offer lots of digital at those levels, but it's more something that you might do towards the end of a lesson or just to introduce a lesson rather than playing the core role. And that's why the digital for first to sixth class comes included with the program rather than being a separate purchase. And for third to sixth class in particular, we've put in a lot of time and effort into curated web links. So we've trawled through all that information that's out there to select the best of it, and that's what Aoife has spent quite a lot of time doing over the past few months, as well as the other authors, so that you can just click on the links and they're there and they're ready to go rather than you having to go and do all that sorting yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ciara. That's great. This is a funny question that's come through. So are there any special offers at the moment? Well, I hope that people are actually interested in buying, so that's great. So the answer is yes. So especially for our schools who are looking to adopt Starlight or Explorers, there's special offers there. We're actually now interested in getting a few requests from teachers who are looking to put together little packs of workbooks that they wouldn't normally get. So maybe that's in case kids need to do a bit more work from home. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in September, but perhaps there might be an element of part-time in and out. So our reps basically are the best people to speak to about special offers. So they can talk through everything with you and put together the best prices and special offers for you, you know, depending on your own classroom and school needs. You know, like your strategy for literacy or SESE will vary from school to school. So, you know, and it'll be based on what you're already using in the school as well. So our reps are really the best people because they will tailor make a set of prices for you and include any special offers that we have. So again, as I said earlier, it's folens.ie/our-reps, and that's how you get hold of them. I think that's all we've got time for today. We've gone right up to 53 minutes at this point. So I think we're going to finish now, but absolutely thank you so much to everybody for coming along this morning, virtually coming along this morning. It's been a new experience for us. We hope that you've got everything that you needed to out of it. But as I say, if you have any questions that we didn't answer today, or you know, if you need any more information at all, our reps are the best people to speak to. But you know, thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. And the big thing is, you know, do stay safe and remain patient with our current scenario. But thanks so much again. Bye bye, all of you.
Bye.